name Justin Barron jumps out from that scrimmage because he had 3 interceptions. But were there any other players on the defensive side of the ball that really stood out to you following that scrimmage? You can say him or you can say anybody else.
I mean, everybody made plays. It felt like Maris Leafau had a sack. I think Quinnen Williams had a huge run stuff, just blew up. I mean, he was blowing up the line all day. Caleb Downs was in the backfield for a tackle on a loss. They tested Savone Revel on a deep ball to Puka Nakua. This was before Puka left practice, and it was incomplete. And from our vantage point, it was hard to tell if it was out of bounds or if it was a PBU or what. But Revel, for the most part, has held his own. I could see him taking a really big leap in year 2. I think most people probably feel that way. I mean, if you've watched him at camp, he looks taller, bigger, faster. It's just like, did he go through a growth spurt? But yeah, I mean, he's got all the traits, right? He's got the size, the speed, the leaping ability. He's looked pretty good. So I could see him being, that's not a breakout star, right? He was a draft pick last year, but I could see him being somebody that maybe by year's end has a pretty solid grasp on one of the starting cornerback roles.
It's interesting to kind of frame it that way, though, because, again, he was in and out most of last year.
He was out for most of last year.
That's what I'm saying, yeah. Like, to say that he could be a breakout star short, like, I don't think that's completely off the wall. I mean, from what we saw in limited fashion on a bad defense, that's not really a fair indication of what he's capable of. So, yeah, this feels like this could be his technically rookie year on that front, the same way the NBA always kind of goes until you play a full season to fully count.
Well, and I think there were so many people that saw him as a much higher draft pick before he suffered that ACL in his final year at East Carolina. The Cowboys felt like if we can get him back to pre-ACL tear, we're getting a bargain of a draft pick because they took him later, well, in the later rounds, though he had been projected higher before he got injured. So to your point, Jonah, I don't know that it's necessarily like it would be all that surprising.
It's not a deep cut, right? And we're not. But again, you look at their defense, like now after some of the offseason moves, like how many of the projected starters are really potential breakout candidates? Almost all of them are veterans in some form or fashion, right? Like Rashawn Gary would not be a breakout candidate. Quinnen Williams, not a breakout candidate. Kenny Clark. You just go down the line and it's, DeMarvion Overshown, we know what he can do when healthy. And so, like, there's really only a few players on defense that's going to see significant time starting week 1 that you can actually look to and be like, that's a bit of a breakout. But if you're looking for guys that are going to come from like...
Go ahead. Sorry.
Yeah, go ahead, man.
No, I was just going to say the one that is technically a veteran, but the guy I'm most excited to see is the one I keep bringing up, D. Winters, who comes in with the reputation and has the experience, but hasn't necessarily accumulated the stats that people would associate with one of the top linebackers in the NFL. That said, this feels like, Jonah, from what everything that we've seen, that Christian Parker's defense is going to help facilitate guys like that to make plays, to where the bigger stars aren't necessarily going to make the splash plays. It's up to other guys to accumulate the stats part.
You also remember that D. Winters no longer practices in San Francisco on their radioactive force field, and so he'll probably be healthy and play a full season. So yeah, I totally agree. D's flashed in practice as well, and I think again this is like all these people, all these new additions, CP. You just kind of add it all up, and it's like, how could this defense not be a significant step better than it was last year? And I don't want to rank it. I don't know what it's going to be until we see it in practice. But, I mean, even the base stuff just looks so much better, And even when they go to zone, and they've gone to zone from time to time, it just looks like everybody is on the same page. And so, good on the Cowboys for recognizing after year 1 that we made a grave mistake forcing Matt Eberflus on Brian Schottenheimer, and let's go get some young blood. And I think it's worth noting here is, CP is, he eats, sleeps, drinks football, right? And eventually, if this Cowboys defense has success, he's going to probably want to get a head coaching job. This is the track. I do wonder, and I think the Cowboys know this, is that they've always kind of have to have it in the back of their minds of, who would be potential replacements down the road, um, whether that's a year, whether it's 2 years, whatever. But it is something to keep note of, that if CP does get hired eventually, it could lead to more turnover when it comes to defensive systems or um, coaching. But again, that's a projection that is assuming a lot. Um, but if that all does come to fruition, then it means good things for the Cowboys defense and that they've been successful.
Yeah, it is assuming that the Cowboys defense is better this year. But on that front,
How can they, again, as we keep saying, how can they not be?
Right.
Like,
Well, that
if they show up, this is like the SAT score. Like last year was the SAT where they got every question wrong. This year, as long as they sign their name, they'll be better. Like that's kind of where things stand.
one might hope. They have brought in reinforcements from other squads, including Kobe Durant. And he talked about, Kelly, not only the benefit of the scrimmage against the Rams and just seeing another opponent, another jersey for the first time, but also the type of repetition and literally practice that the defense is getting going up against some of the best offenses in the league. This is sought for, Kelly.
You get to see the physicality, the camaraderie, the communication that you guys are on this side of the ball, going up against another team, and just making the things we learn in the classroom come to life. It makes it great because you're not really gonna face a Matthew Stafford with a Devontae Adams and a Puka Nacua when you go in the regular season. You're not gonna face a Dak Prescott with a CeeDee Lamb and a George Pickens when you go into the season. For our defense, when I was with the Rams, it was, it helped us a lot because going into the games, it was, everybody's not them. And it makes you build your confidence. And then I come here and I'm guarding CD and GP, and it's like, building the confidence again. And I'm blessed as a cornerback to be able to come from one high-power offense to come to another, then entering the season whereas, things have slowed down a whole lot for me.
Now, I think we have to take that with a grain of salt because said defense was going against those three last year, and it was not good. But the point is well taken.
Yeah. No, I mean, looking at the season specifically, like, if you're just going to go down the first four games, Giants, Commanders, Ravens, Texans, the Ravens offense kind of scares you because of the run game, but the rest of them are coin flips at best as far as being solid offenses. So by that comparison, they will have faced the toughest offense that they will see, not only at the regular training camp practices, but against the Rams, who they just played.
Now, I know that people point to GP and CD, which I get it. But Ryan Flanoy, wide receiver 3, had a bit of a breakout year last year. And, Jonah, we were talking about this before today's show. I don't know that anyone necessarily would have picked him to have that year and to really solidify his spot as kind of that third receiver on the depth chart going into 2026. If you had to pick who you think is going to be this season's Ryan Flanoy on August 13th, who are we going with?
That's such a great question.
It's
I
a good
don't really
question because he came up with it himself before the show.
Yeah, and I really don't have a good answer for you. I would say, all right,
I
it's
hope he
not going to
doesn't
be
pick
like
mine.
it's not going to be like a big time pass catcher or anything like that because there's only one football to go around.
Mm-hmm.
But Brevin Spann-Ford blocking has been majestic all throughout training camp. He just comes across pre-snap and just absolutely lays the lumber once that ball is hiked. I could see him being more impactful on the offense than people may know, and it may bump one of the tight ends to get cut. Like Luke Schoonmaker is not a guarantee to be on this roster, and Brevin Spann-Ford is making he's making an impact in the run game. The blocking is really good. The timing is right. He's so physical. He brings just an element of grit to an offense that is, the O-line's pretty gritty, but you just kind of need that. I don't know. He's kind of like a Jamie Benn type. Just, somebody is just going to get there a little bit, get a little physical, mix it up, add a little teeth to an offense that, is so high octane and high scoring. I just wanted to mention the Stars so Kelly could feel part of the conversation.
The way that I perked up out of my seat, Jonah, when you were
somebody say
Jimmy,
Jamie
and I went, "Ooh."
Activated like a sleeper agent over there.
Yeah.
In a great comp all the while.
Yeah.
I love that pick. That early on in camp was one of the first names that kind of stood out as maybe a sleeper under the radar name. The Cowboys have always loved his ability to block, right? They've talked about, I think Lunda Wells and even Brian Schottenheimer talked about his intentionality over the last offseason to improve as a pass catcher. His size, my God, we talked about this on the show one time. An athletic trainer was trying to feed him water and literally had his arm fully extended, the way that I have to do like interviewing Victor Wembanyama. Like, get me a stilt. And he was the first name that Shoddy mentioned when it came to guys making an impact on special teams. And we know that like that is a lot of guys' pathway to finding time on offense or defense is making a name for themselves on special teams. So love that pick. If I had to choose one, I'm going with Jayshon Barham, the linebacker that they took in the third round.
I thought you were going to go with the Jaden Blue running back. No.
No, because I think Jaden Blue is kind of already shown that I don't want to say he's like cemented himself as the backup to Javonte Williams, but I feel like he's more of an obvious choice, maybe.
Okay.
I would say that. I don't know.
All right. No, but they've been talking about Barham.
You're right.
No, go ahead, Jonah.
I'm getting the sense that it's not going to be a backup. It's going to be like a 60-40 split. It's looking like, and this is don't
Blue,
quote me
you
on
mean?
the percentage. I think we're going to see a lot of Jaden Blue.
Yeah.
We've seen it in camp. He just adds a different element. They do not want Javonte Williams to run into a wall midseason, sort of like he did last year. And the way to do that is to kind of scale back his reps and his snaps. And so I think they should be more of like a 60-40, or maybe it's like 60-30 and then 10 to Maffa. We've seen 3 different running backs mix in with the first string offense during the joint practice the other day. It was Javonte was in there, Maffa was in there, Jaden Blue got a lot of work. And so I think they're trying some things out. They want to mix it up, keep it different, because Blue just offers an element of speed that just it keeps defenses honest in a way. It's kind of like that Zeke, Tony Pollard type style that we saw a few years back. And it's not the high. It's not cannot compare those two because I think that duo was pretty special in their own right. But they need to have 2 guys. You can't rely on a bell cow these days unless you're Bijan Robinson or maybe Jahmyr Gibbs, and even then those guys were by committee. Yeah, Derrick Henry, and those guys are potential Hall of Famers. So I think we'll see a lot of Jaden Blue as long as he stays on good terms with the coaches. Remember he was.
Working on his
not in good
maturity.
terms last year. Yeah, there were a lot of things that he was not doing the right way last year, and I think he's grown up a bit. He's learning what it means to become a pro. A lot of guys have to go through that growth. But assuming all that is straight, then he's going to see the field a lot because he just adds an element, out of the backfield that they just didn't have last year.
All right, I love that. Well, who would you pick?
I mean, I'd kind of go similar vein to Jaden, but not necessarily the same like running game. But I'm going offensive line. I feel like Tyler Booker takes a step this year. I feel like as much people want to talk about the tackle position between Thomas and Guyton in that kind of position battle, I get the feeling that the fact that they're trying to force a position battle means either someone's going to feel like their position is secure, or it's more proof that they don't necessarily have the correct answer there. Booker to me feels like not only attitude, but just another year in the system.
Yeah.
The growth potential is really big there, and to have him kind of bolster that core and have 2 anchors between him and Smith would be a huge help.
The Tyler takeover. All right, Kelly, who's your sleeper pick?
Jamie Benn.
She's about to give us a hockey player name. Go ahead.
You guys know I don't know football.
Any name on the roster. You could say Dak Prescott to have a breakout year. It's fine.
Any name on the roster?
Any name I guess. Any name you think is gonna have a breakout year.
Who is currently on the roster?
Yeah,
Who's currently on the roster?
I just gave literally any any.
I'm gonna go. Okay, no, you guys are gonna make me look stupid.
Israel
I'm not
Abanikanda.
I'm not picking anybody.
She's not picking. Okay. Jerry Jones is Kelly's pick.
No, Jerry Jones is not Kelly's pick.
Well, you know what? It's fine. Are we going or we no?
What?
Are you picking one or no?
No.
Okay, she's out. She's out.
I need
the
to
only
know
thing-
ahead of time if there's homework.
I was just setting the table for you
I've
to
been
say literally
sitting-
any name
I
that
heard-
you ever heard any of us say, and then in in January when they have a breakout year, we could go back and be like, look, Kelly knew.
I have been sitting in this room for you for an hour and a half, and at no point did you go, by the way, Kelly, I'm going to ask you who your pick for breakout Cowboys player of the year is.
Okay, that's fair. I'm sorry.
In fairness, this is what happens when a producer is going to scramble trying to piece together sound bites in another room.
In fairness.
Because the signal's stronger
Yeah,
elsewhere.
Andrew
so.
definitely would have told me.
I'm sorry.
Jonah, who should I pick?
I apologize. Oh.
Tony Romo.
Well, we're hoping
no.
he breaks
Oh,
out
no.
of something else.
Oh,
Anyway.
It just goes from bad to worse.
Well, we're going to see of the three of the four of us, which pick gets off to the best start. Potentially, I guess Tyler Booker's probably not going to be playing in the preseason. But when the Cowboys take the field in their first preseason game on Saturday.